Graphics organization is hard, but today we're going to take a look at an app which makes your life a little bit easier by organizing your files for you. We're going to take a look at Eagle app, and they're a website with a piece of software used by all sorts of companies like Google and Microsoft that organize all your files, whether they're images, fonts, videos, or even music files. We're going to take a look and install it. We're going to test it and review it, and by the end of this video, you should know whether it's a system that you guys want to use. Now, a quick disclaimer, this is an awesome piece of sponsored content, which is cool, but it's not going to influence my review in any way. I'll only review stuff that I believe in, and this is one of those products that I think is really cool. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Adrian from Australia. I do videos around design and development, so if you haven't already, hit like and hit subscribe, and let's just jump straight into it. Let's start by installing Eagle app. We'll go to Eagle app on Google and just select to view their website. Here they've got quite a few options, and I'm running Windows, so I'm just going to select to download the Windows version. This will install the whole software, and it's also available for trial for 30 days. But I've got a test key, so I'm going to apply that. Let's open it up and go through the installation. I'm just opening it over here, and this will start up the installation, which is just over here. I'm just going to go through the basic install steps here to get it up and running. Great, looks like that's finished, and we can open this up now and take a look. Let's go through the installation steps here, and we'll just click to get started. They have a browser extension, and I want to try this out, so I'll install that as well. Let's have a look. That's over here, but I'll do that a little bit later. And we also have to create a library, and we don't have one yet, so we'll just create a new one. We'll call this Adrian Twarog. Let's create that, and I might move this here in my pictures folder. So let's do that here as a new folder. And we'll call this Eagle app. Great. That's saved, and I'll save that in here. And looks like we're up and running. There's a small guide here on how to use it, so it might be worth taking a look at this. To start off, it seems that it's just as simple as a drag and drop, so that's pretty cool. Let's see what other things we can do here. So we can create custom folders in here, and we just do this by hitting the plus sign on the left under Smart Folders. We can also create some tags, it looks like, and this way we can identify our images a little bit better. What else can we do? We can search by the color of the image. Alright, I'll have to check that out. And we can import things, I think, quite easily from the web, and it looks like it's literally just a drag and a drop. So I'm definitely going to have to try that out, because I have lots of designs on Dribbble, which I just bookmark. But that's really hard to have a look at, because usually the name of the bookmark isn't very descriptive. So yeah, that looks good. They've also got a little snippet tool here, it looks like, through their extension. So I usually use the snippet tool from Windows, but this might be more effective. And finally, we can take full-on screenshots too. So I guess that completely replaces the snippet tool. All right, so I guess we'll get started then. So I've just installed the Eagle app, and it's come out with a very simple design here, and we can get started by just dragging and dropping some images. But I also want to install the Chrome extension, because this will let me import some of the Dribbble images that I really like to follow for inspiration. So let's jump in here to Chrome and do that. We'll jump to the Eagle website and select the extensions tool. And I'm running Chrome, so I'm just going to select that. We're going to open it up here, and this should be pretty simple to install. I'm just going to hit Add Extension over here. And there, it looks like it's up and running. It's got a couple of options here, such as capturing an area, capturing a page, and I might give this a shot. I've got a website over here that I recently made called Fred Snow. And I'm going to pull this up and just have a look if I can capture some of the elements on this page using their full page capture screenshot tool. So I'm going to click capture page, and let's see what happens. So it's going through the website right now and blocking up all the sections, I assume, which will make a nice large render. And there, I've heard a little pop, and it looks like that's done. So if we have a look now, it's here in our folder. And if I open this up, we can see that it's nicely, some tools here. So let's see, we can zoom in, zoom out, and a couple of different other things. But yeah, it looks like it's all come in, and that looks really good. I like the little interface here where I can move it about. It's a little bit like Photoshop, but it's easier to use than image preview by Windows. So that's cool. Let's see if we can go back and create a folder for this. So I might call this Adrian's website work. And I'll see if I can just drag it straight into there. So it looks like that worked. Cool. Another cool thing I've noticed is this has some information here on the right. It's got the name of the website. It's got the URL which I captured it from. I can add some notes on here, and I can even add some tags. It seems that it's even suggested some tags here like WordPress, website, Fred Snow, which is really cool. So that way in the future, I assume I'll be able to filter by these tags. And I guess we'll have a look at what else we can do. I want to jump into Dribbble now because I use this website quite a lot to get inspiration. And I want to see how this works for getting content in. So it's literally just a drag and drop. And it's going straight into Eagle, I assume. Let's have a look. We'll jump into the all folder. And here I can see that's been pulled in. It doesn't really have any categorization. It doesn't have any real tags. It's got some suggested tags here. So app would be a good one, calm, design, keep. But I suppose I also need a folder for this. So I could probably create a folder in here called Dribbble. And in here, I'll drag and drop this design in as inspiration. Let's see if we can create a subfolder. Now we can. I might call this app designs. And let's see how this works. So if we drag this in here, it'll be a subfolder of the Dribbble section, which is cool. And I want to see how auto tagging works as well. Let's select this. So any items in this file will have the tags maybe Dribbble. Let's spell that correctly. Maybe app design as well. So I assume if I select that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and just throw some Dribbble designs into the Eagle app, just so that we can see how this more or less works in terms of some of the other features and functionality it has. So here we've got quite a few different designs. I also have heaps and heaps of thumbnails on YouTube, so they would be a good example of pulling in a lot of content into Eagle app. Let's have a look at this folder in here, and these are all my thumbnails for my latest videos. I'm gonna try and literally drag and drop them straight into Eagle app and see what happens. It looks like they're going to be imported, and there they all are. We've even had some that looks like they come up as a duplicate. So in those cases, I don't want to import a duplicate. That's a cool feature. Now with all of these in, we'll see if we can do some cool sorts of filters. There's filters here for colors, so maybe I'll apply that. And that gives me all the examples I've had where I've used that color. That's a pretty cool function. There's other options in here, like these smart folders. I don't have any set up, but let's try and create one. I might make one here for thumbnails, and let's put that in, thumbnails. And what this might be is any item that has the word thumbnail in there. We could apply that, and right now I don't think we have any that thumbnail. Let's put that in. All right, so it actually is showing up with all the ones that I've just imported. And now anytime I have any file with that, it'll straight away go into this smart folder. I'm guessing there's other ways you can filter this by maybe color or tag, and even with the height. So that's a pretty good way to categorize some of your content so that in the future you can find it a lot easier. Now, I do a lot of videos, and this means that I've got heaps all over the place. I don't really structure them very well, so let's try and import them into the Eagle app and see how that works. They're MP4 files, and they're quite large. They're about 1.6 gigabytes. And sometimes I get confused where they are. So let's see how this works. I'm importing one right here, and obviously this is taking some time, but it's in there. It's got the name in here, it's got the size and some details, and if I mouse over it, I can instantly preview it, which is pretty cool. If I double click to have a look at the content, it immediately plays, and that's pretty cool as well. So there looks like there's a heap of other functions here hiding in the background. There's options here to resize all our images so we can see more in one go. We can do a search here, and I could type in something like Dribbble, and I can even hover over a GIF for it to automatically play. Or if I hit YouTube, and I search for all YouTube videos with, say, this color here for the pink, it gives me a list of all of them. So that's pretty cool as well. Doing a lot of YouTube also means that I usually have background music that I like to apply to different videos. And right now, here are some of my favorites. So I'm going to try and drag these in and see what happens. I might also want to create a new folder for them. And hopefully this just works. Let's call this YouTube Music. And in here, once it's done, I might even try and make this a little bit more stylish. Maybe I'll make it a blue color and maybe even an icon in here, such as, let's have a look what we have. Quite a few different icons in here. I just want something generic for music, so this music icon might do. So that's pretty cool. And finally, let's have a look if that's all the way in. So it's almost added all the files. I assume these will be uncategorized or untagged. I'm not too sure. It might be a little bit different for music files. So let's have a look over here. It looks like they've all imported, and they're quite large, but and they're quite loud too. Let's have a look if they work as intended. I'm just going to mouse over, and they're automatically playing, so that's pretty cool. I can zoom straight into somewhere to play. And this would probably save me a lot of time, because right now when I use them, I have to double click on one to open it up and listen, whereas here they're all nicely arranged. I could probably add some tags in here to find out what type of music this is, such as calm music or whatnot, and this might make accessing my music in the future a lot faster. I also use lots of different fonts when making thumbnails for YouTube, so let's see if we can create a folder in here and import some fonts as well. Let's put in YouTube fonts in here, and I've got a folder here with all the fonts that I normally use. I'm just going to select them all and just drag them straight in. Hopefully this goes straight into this folder and imports all the fonts. I'm not too sure if this will actually work, but let's find out. So I've just dragged them in. I assume they're loading maybe in the background or something. Let's have a look. So if we go in here, maybe if I just move over just a single font and just check that that works. So that's come in. I might not have properly dragged it into the folder there, so let's try that again. I guess maybe you can't import them all in one go, but if I just select a single one, they seem to be importing just okay. So let's see if there's another way I can import these. I might jump in here and have a look at maybe import folder. And here I might be able to browse straight into my folder for the fonts. So in this case, if we go in here, here's the folder for that. And I'm just going to go in there and select this folder. And that seems to have imported all of them. So that's good. It has put them in a different folder. So what I do is I'll remove all the duplicates and I'll just drag them here into my folder for YouTube fonts. Here they are. And this one here, I'm just going to delete this and see what happens. I'm removing the folder. I'm also going to move this item into trash. So there does seem to be a trash thing here. I guess when you delete content, that's where it goes. And I'm not too sure how long before it disappears, but for the time being, I guess we can test that out. Let's move one of these items into the trash. And there it is. And I suppose if we hit delete one more time, that'll just remove it completely. So at least there's a little bit of a backup there so that if we do accidentally delete items, they're not completely gone. In terms of the fonts though, I do have all my fonts here and I can sort of double click and select them so I can see what they look like on a page if I'm using them. I can even apply different colors, so that's pretty cool. And I've got a different couple of ways to see how they're implemented on a page. So I think that's pretty useful actually. I'm pretty happy with that, and I might give it some more testing so that I can actually have a look what fonts look like on a website, because it's always hard to tell. Here we can resize it too. So usually fonts look very different when they're small, and here I can compare them a little bit. So big bold fonts don't look very good when they're small, whereas these ones that are a little bit more condensed look a little bit better. I hope you like this review of the Eagle app. It's pretty good for organizing your files. I personally enjoyed it, and I can see myself using it as well. I can see already the potential it has in making sure that my music is easier to access, I can preview files faster, and especially on my Dribbble designs. Right now my inspiration as bookmarks on Chrome just doesn't work very well, and I lose the motivation to have a look at them. But by having them nicely organized on this application, it makes life a lot easier. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like, leave a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.